Event 1 of the 2016 Midsummer Melee is Treading Water, a triplet to be completed by both partners individually. It begins with partner 1 completing 30 or 20 calories on the assault bike, followed by 10 power cleans and 10 alternating dumbbell snatches. Once partner 1 completes the triplet, partner 2 can begin. The score is the total time after partner 2 is done. The time cap is 9 minutes. The clean can be done in any variety: muscle clean, power clean, or squat clean. Full extension, elbows past the plane of the bar, and full control must be shown after each repetition. The dumbbell snatch can begin on any arm, but must alternate after completion on one side. The athlete is allowed to snatch the dumbbell up in any manner as long as no other part of the body touches the dumbbell on the way up. The athlete must control the dumbbell on the way down and are allowed to use any part of the body to do so. A no rep on the clean will occur if the athlete fails to pass the elbows through the plane of the barbell, the athlete fails to show full extension at the top of the clean in either a power or a squat clean, or if the athlete fails to show full control when standing out of the clean. A no rep on the dumbbell snatch will occur if the athlete fails to control the dumbbell to the ground, or the athlete does not show full control when receiving the dumbbell overhead, or the athlete does not show full extension at the top of the dumbbell snatch. Event 2 of the 2016 Midsummer Melee is a 3-rep max thruster ladder, done every minute on the minute. There will be 7 preloaded barbells in which the athlete will have 50 seconds to lift and 10 seconds afterwards to transition to the next barbell. The athletes will have the option of performing a max effort set of double unders or jump rope after any weight for tiebreaker points. The athletes are allowed to squat clean their first rep or power clean into a front squat. In between thrusters, the athletes are allowed to pause overhead or on the shoulders on the way down. A rep is completed once the athlete reaches full depth on their squat and full extension overhead. A no rep on the thruster will occur if the athlete does not reach full depth on their squat with the hip crease below the knee, or the athlete does not show full extension through the shoulder and elbow with the barbell over the plane of their ears. If the athlete loses control out of their front squat and cannot achieve the thruster in one fluid movement, they must reattempt the thruster, otherwise it is a no rep. Event 3 of the 2016 Midsummer Melee is Uphill Downhill, a couplet that can be shared in any manner. It begins with 40 overhead squats, followed by 6 rope climbs, 30 overhead squats and 8 rope climbs, and finishes with 20 overhead squats and 10 rope climbs. The athlete is allowed to squat snatch into their first repetition of the overhead squat. The athletes are also allowed to muscle snatch or power snatch, then begin their first repetition of their overhead squat. A clean and jerk to the back rack is also allowed. Athletes are allowed to snatch balance into the first repetition if desired. A jerk off the front rack is also allowed. A no rep on the overhead squat will occur if the athlete does not reach full depth on their squat with the hip crease below the knee, or the athlete does not show full extension of the knee and hip at the top of the overhead squat. The athlete is allowed to ascend and descend the rope utilizing any method, as long as the athlete finishes by touching on or above the red section noted at the top of the rope. Event 4 of the 2016 Midsummer Melee is King Julian, 3 separately scored AMRAP couplets. Each couplet begins with a buy-in followed by an AMRAP in the remaining time. The first AMRAP begins with a 1K row followed by an AMRAP of wall balls. The second AMRAP begins with an 800 meter run followed by an AMRAP of hang snatches. The last AMRAP begins with a 1.5 mile air bike followed by an AMRAP of chest to bar. You will have 90 seconds to transition between AMRAPs, and your score for each AMRAP will be the total reps completed in the time allotted. Each wall ball begins in a full squat and finishes when the medicine ball hits the designated target. For the repetition to be completed, the medicine ball must make contact with any portion inside the circle of the target. The hang snatch begins with a deadlift to full extension. The athlete is then allowed to use any hang position above the knee to perform the snatch. Full extension must be shown at the completion of each snatch before beginning the next repetition. The chest to bar pull-up begins with the athlete hanging at full extension and finishes when any part of the athlete's torso below the collarbone makes contact with the bar. Any grip or method can be used to perform the chest to bar, as long as the athlete begins at full extension. Jumping into the pull-up is not permitted. The women's scale division will perform ring rows. The rings will be set to a standard height and the heels must remain on the same plane from where the rings hang. Scaled men will perform pull-ups. A repetition begins at full extension of the elbow and finishes when the elbow breaks 90 degrees. A no rep on a wall ball will occur if an athlete fails to begin a wall ball with a front squat, an athlete fails to reach full depth, hip crease below the knee on any given rep, or an athlete does not make contact between the medicine ball and the designated target. Dunking the ball is not permitted. A no rep of the hang snatch will occur if an athlete does not show full control or full extension at the top of the snatch, or an athlete does not pause after picking the bar up off the ground, or performs a power snatch. A no rep of the ring row will occur if an athlete's elbow angle does not break 90 degrees at the top of the ring row, an athlete's elbow does not reach full extension at the bottom of the ring row, or an athlete's feet move from the designated area.